this time to experience him. So let me tell you, without further ado, this man, we call him the Todd Father. And I want everybody to bask in the glory of Mr. Todd Kuka. Let's go, Todd! Yeah! Woo!
What's up, dude?
This guy, man. Oh, this is my jam, brother.
Who's that back there? Do you like conflict? You think about our world and all the conflict we're in the middle of. Politically, right wing, left wing, I don't care. Think about your family. Maybe there's been some conflict because of this weekend for some reason. Your job, your entrepreneurship. So conflict is a part of our life. Let me ask you another question. Are you broken? I would think that many of you, if not all of you, maybe are broken. I've been broken. We've all been broken at some point in our lives. There's a book by Matthew Kelly called Life is Messy. Matter of fact, Brianna's going to read it tonight. He says, great question. I love this question. Can something that has been broken be put back together in a way that makes it more beautiful than ever? So if you're familiar with the Japanese art of kintsugi, that's what they do. Broken vases, broken dishes, they glue them back together. We throw them out. Sometimes we throw people out. We throw out the broken vases. They glue them back together. But what makes it special is they put gold dust in the glue when they glue it back together, so it's more beautiful than ever was before. All of you are capable. All of you have that gold dust in you that can help glue people back together better than before. I was at Melissa's event in Atlanta. There's Melissa. And we were in the breakfast area the last morning, and Meg points out on the wall were all these dishes that were broken with gold, that had been fixed with gold. And I thought, okay, there's a sign there. I have to keep sharing this message. Plus, Matthew Kelly's quite an author that I really appreciate. I'll just throw it over there. I do appreciate him, but I just wanted to get the book over there. So let me ask you some more. I love asking. I'm a former school teacher. I love asking questions. How many of you have been fired once? And I want you to hold your hands up. Awesome. Keep your hands up if you've been fired twice. Keep your hands up if you've been fired 3 times. Keep your hands up if you've been fired 4 times. I see one. Congratulations. You know what I want you to do? I've got some books over here by Evan. Seriously, grab one of those books. They're a free book for you. Grab whichever one. Go ahead right now. Grab one book. Congratulations. You've been fired 4 times. So have I. And you're probably wondering, I paid $7,000 to come here, and Michael brings up some guy that's been fired 4 times to talk to us? Well, I've been broken. I've lived through conflict. I've had all that different crap in my life, right? I've been fired. I was fired from the Catholic schools. Think about that. I'm a Catholic. I have a strong faith. I was fired from the Catholic schools. Culture. I was fired from the Girl Scouts. The little girls that sell the cookies that you guys all love, the mint, whatever they call them. What are they called? Thanks, Katie. Thin Mints. I was fired from the girls. Now, I'm not going to tell you about all of them because I got 4 of them. But a lot of that had to do, quite honestly, with culture. Now, we all know, those of us that have been fired, it's never our fault. Okay? I'll take a little responsibility. But in all honesty, a lot of it had to do with the culture in those organizations. And that's what we really have to work on. That's what we have to work on shifting. And what I like to talk a lot about is how communication, trust, and conflict work together. Now, constructive conflict is good conflict. We don't see a lot of that now. I used to talk to a legislator. He was a Supreme Court justice in Wisconsin. Spencer, that was your cue. Let me try it again. So I know I was talking to this Chief Justice. He was a Supreme Court justice in the state of Wisconsin. Thank you for that woo. Wisconsin, yeah, Wisconsin. And he said when he was in office, they'd fight like you know what on the floor, then they'd go across the street to the bar and have a drink, right? We don't see nearly enough of that. But it's really all about communication, trust, and conflict. Once in a while I'm up here, a squirrel might run across the stage and distract my attention, so I apologize for that. But so yesterday I left from Plover, Wisconsin. Who knows where Plover is? All right, thank you, Spencer, for helping me out here, man. My fellow Wisconsin buddy and his lovely wife. So I left yesterday at 5 a.m., got in my car, I'm driving along, so I got my camera out. Now, you'll learn that I'm not really technologically advanced, right? So I turned my video on my camera and recorded myself giving my presentation, driving down here from Madison. And people are like going by me, and they're looking at me like, there's no one in the car. Who the heck is he talking to? Then last night, while I was trying to get some sleep, and I got some good sleep, I woke up in the middle of the night, and this happened to me a couple days ago. I wake up now, and I get these really sharp, clear thoughts about what I want to say. It's the weirdest thing, and it just started happening recently. I love it, because it's helped me a lot in what I'm going to say and talk about. So on the little notepad next to my bed, I wrote this note down. Now, have any of you seen the Seinfeld episode where he writes a note to himself and can't figure out what it says? So it was really good. It was like the best thing I was going to say all weekend. I have no idea what it says. All right, that's my squirrel. But I'm really on a mission to revolutionize leadership and culture. Now, I work in the corporate world, but I also work with individuals as well. And I think you are all, as part of the UnleashU Now group, as part of this Movement Makers organization, this effort this weekend, you're very much interested in the same thing. You want to revolutionize leadership, you want to revolutionize culture, and let's get this place back. Excuse me. Let's help each other. I loved it at the beginning when Michael had it, you hold up your phones with your lights on, right? There are people in this room that will help you. So let's make sure that we take advantage of that. I'm also a solopreneur right now. I'm a solopreneur who helps entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. Now, raise your hand if you know what an intrapreneur is. Okay, good, a few people do. So my understanding is an intrapreneur is somebody who's in a business, in a workplace, in the organization that has the same passion that an entrepreneur does, but they're going to work on it from the inside of the corporation. They're going to help that corporation build itself. So no matter if you're in a business or corporation, you love it there, or you're in a business, you're trying to get out of there, or you're an entrepreneur, what I'm going to talk about can and will certainly help you. So the title of my presentation is From Being Fired to Being on Fire. And I like to think that I'm on fire about this. It makes me sick when my kids get around and they talk about their workplaces and their culture. And it's not uncommon. Many of you either have experienced it or are experiencing it right now. But how are we going to get through it? People talk about, there was a Harvard study. Now, I'm a Wisconsin grad, so the Harvard stuff is a little tricky for me, a little complicated. But it talks about you're 10 times more likely to lose somebody based on the culture of an organization than the compensation that you give them. So you can keep throwing money at people, and people will take it. And the next day, they'll be just as pissed off as they were before, because the culture is the same. They dread the culture. So I want to talk to you about a 5-step roadmap. Some of you have heard some of this. Got a few new twists in there, we'll see. But a 5-step roadmap for mindset shift. What can you do as an individual, as an entrepreneur? What can you do in your business to help shift this culture and not get fired by the Girl Scouts and the Catholic schools for crying out loud? All right. Step 1 is your core values. Your core values. A lot of you probably are pretty familiar with this topic. Maybe some of you have gone through an exercise. There's an exercise that I take folks through. It's about an hour, hour and a half. I ask them questions, and they end up selecting their 5 core values. Right? Brianna, is one of your core values justice? Yeah, see, I remember from Cancun a year ago. Come on, I'm an old guy, and I remembered something. Yeah, thank you. For crying out loud, right? But they are foundational to who you are, what you are, why you do what you do. Your core values. And sometimes people go, hey, what are your values? Oh, yeah, family. But you really need to go through a concerted effort, a step-by-step process to work on these. Mine happen to be optimism, trust, honesty, enthusiasm, and teamwork. Now, hopefully, right now, And throughout the course of the weekend, you'll see a little bit of that in me. That's what I try to be. I'm a team player for my Badgers, so I've always got my red and white on. I can't believe Michael doesn't have the shirt I got him about a year ago in Cancun on, but that's a whole other story when Wisconsin beat North Carolina a year ago. We won't talk about that. All right? But your core values are so important. And what, recently I was working with Newski's. Newski's. Have you ever had a Newski's meat, Spencer? You know of them. Good. It's a meat place. They bring in dead pigs, dead pigs, and they cut up the meat, and they smoke. They do turkeys. They smoke all this stuff. Great food. So I've been working with them. They've had some challenge with the culture. They had their CEO pass away, a Newski. His daughter was thrown into the role. She was in the organization, thrown into the role. They expanded their building, and COVID hit. They were in a mess. They had about 200 employees. They put a culture team together. We got 20 people together across the organization to talk about elements of culture. And one of the first things we did was took them through an exercise of core values, because some of those people didn't know each other. You know, it's a fairly large company, not by Wisconsin standards, just a large company, I guess. No, I won't fall off the edge, don't worry. But they didn't know each other, and that's a great way to start building that team. By talking about something, imagine in your business, talking about core values with your coworkers, but that's how you get to the culture. That's how you bring meaning in your organization. We don't just sit around and sing kumbaya, but let's figure out who each other is. And the core values is a great way to do that. Let's think about the wheel of life. That's the second step. I call it Todd's wheel of life, but we'll just call it the wheel of life. All of us talk, you hear about a teeter-totter, right? It's a life-work balance. That drives me crazy. If your life is that simple, congratulations, right? There's a lot of crap in our lives. I already talked about it with conflict and everything else that goes on. So I've got 9 different elements on this wheel, on this spectrum. And if you looked at the wheel, wrapped around it is your core values. And for me, wrapped around that is my faith. But those are so what we do is we'll look at each of those 9. We'll rate ourselves on each of those 9. So one of them happens to be personal growth and development. How do I feel I'm doing in personal growth and development? I rate myself at our scale of 1 to 10. I'm sorry, a scale of 1 to 10. I do that for all 9 elements. We share some about why is that your strength, why is that your weakness. Have some conversations about that. Spend about an hour, hour and a half on that. Again, people getting to know each other. Because people come into work with baggage. You come into work with baggage. I come into work with baggage, right? But sometimes we don't appreciate that or understand it or take time to care to know about the people we work with. Excuse me. So at Generac, I work with Generac. And in the personal growth and development area that I mentioned where we rate ourselves, one of the areas in personal growth and development is reading, right? Readers are leaders. Hopefully you guys are all reading. Brianna's going to read that book tonight. You can borrow it from her tomorrow. All right? So then we sat around the table, 5 to 10 of us in a group. We talked about the book. I didn't grade them like a school teacher on what they read, the content. I didn't really care. But we talked about it in terms of what was going on in the workplace and how that impacted them and their journey. And there were some amazing things that came out. I mean, like, they maybe shouldn't have told me 1 or 2 of them, right? But all I'm doing is sitting there facilitating these conversations. Often, we have a lot of meetings in the workplace, right? Where we have an agenda and we have these things, these hard skill things we have to get through, but we never take time to get to really know each other. I think about the wheel of life. Another one of the elements is self-awareness and care. And I think about Dr. Vinny. I don't know where Dr. Vinny is. I know she's in here somewhere. Where's Dr. Vinny? Where is she? There you are. Hey, Dr. V, what's going on? It's really hard to see up here. I apologize. But Dr. Vinny does that back in Delaware with her horse therapy. Talk to her about that. It's incredible. We've done some things when we've gone in Delaware. We get to play with the horses. But not just play with the horses. Honestly, we get to bond with the horses. We develop relationships in 10 or 15 minutes. It's amazing work. But that's part of your wheel of life. The third element, differences make us better. Look around this room. This room is strong because of the differences in this room. And these differences make us better. I don't know, there's 100, 150 people, whatever, I don't care, in this room, and we're all different. We're all different. There's 8 billion different people in the world. That's how I like to look at my world. I don't like to look at it in terms of DEI or, what is it, EDI now, or is it IDEA, or there's all these acronyms they have about people getting along and learning how to make life better because we're different. That's the kind of world that I want to live in. It brings me back to Brianna and her core value of justice. That's what differences make us better is all about. I've had some great experiences. The one I want to tell you about is with Dora. When I was at United Way of Dane County and got promoted, I had to brag because I got fired 4 times, so I thought I should tell you that I actually did get promoted once in my career. I'm not a complete idiot. Why does that guy keep staring at me? Squirrel. All right. So where was it? Dora. Yeah. So I had 2 people that I had in place to replace me. I met with my CEO, wonderful lady. Challenge you. Well, she would challenge you, right? So we sat down. Leslie said, who are you going to hire? I said, I'm going to hire Art. And if you saw a picture of Art, he's a mirror image of me. I mean, he looks a lot better. He's in better shape. He does love basketball, which is extremely cool. But he was like a mirror image of me. Dora was a short, strong Hispanic woman. Art's my guy. So Leslie and I talked some more. I went back to my office. We talked some more. I hired Dora. Best hire I ever made. Matter of fact, I texted her today, and she said, hey, you'll do a great job tonight. I mean, this was years ago. I mean, just crazy. And I learned so much from her. You know why I didn't hire her? I was afraid. How many times have you been afraid because somebody's different? We all have. You probably walked down the hallway here today and thought about that person or that person. It's human nature. But let's start focusing on how those differences can make us better. Let's reach out our hand to that person. Or in this room, let's reach our hand across the table. Or when we're in the hallway or tomorrow. All right? Next, the fourth step in the 5-step roadmap is your comfort zone. I thought Brent stole my notes. I mean, that was amazing, dude. But the comfort zone, nothing happens in your comfort zone. Now, I'm not talking about when you're in your lazy boy watching the Green Bay Packers kick everybody's butt. I'm talking about your comfort zone, right? How you want to grow and expand yourself. Nothing good ever happens in your comfort zone. I want to talk to you about Facebook Live. So I took a speaker's course through UnleashU Now, and every week there was a different challenge. Some of you, I think Melissa, you've taken the course. Yeah, Melissa's taken the course. Some others of you have maybe as well. Dennis shakes his head. So he said, all right, here's your target for next week. Here's your goal. You either have to do a stand up in a comedy club, right? Or you can do a Facebook Live. Well, let me tell you, folks, in the center of the state of Wisconsin, there are not a lot of comedy clubs. All right? So I had to do a Facebook Live. Problem was, I'd never done a Facebook Live. I barely use Facebook at this point in my life. But I'm going to do it. I got challenged. I'm going to break out of my comfort zone. I'm going to stretch myself. So I worked at the Portage County Business Council. Went in our boardroom. Got one of those 8-foot long tables. Set it up in front of me. Behind me, this was how technologically advanced. There was a TV monitor, right? But I did have my website up there. So I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. I got that in the background. So anyway, set up a table. Being so technologically advanced, I put a chair on top of the table, right? That's how you do it. Don't you do that in your house when you're going to videotape yourself for a Facebook Live? Then I took my laptop and set that on top of the table because I guess I didn't know you could do Facebook Live on your phone because, like I said, I'm an idiot. So I plugged my headphone in. I had the 2 earplugs and the little microphone that droops down here, and the wire. So I'm starting to tell this story. It's supposed to be funny. So I'm talking about taking my mom shopping. I love my mom. My mom is 93. My mom is slowing down. And just some funny things happen. Like she has a walker, and all of a sudden 3 aisles down, she realized she didn't have her walker anymore. So I had to go get it. And we laugh about it, seriously. So I mean, she's got a great sense of humor. If I have a great sense of humor, that's where I got it from. So anyway, I'm up there, and you can tell I kind of move around, move my arms and stuff. So I'm talking, I'm telling about we're getting pickles and blah, blah, blah. And I do this, and I hit the cord, and it kind of twists my laptop a little bit. I thought, okay, I'll just make sure that cord's plugged in. So I'm going some more. I'm looking at the screen, trying to look at the camera. You're supposed to do that, right? And all of a sudden, in the lower left-hand corner, there's these people that are typing in words. I thought, well, this is interesting. And they're telling me that they can't hear me anymore. I'm like, oh, shit. Now, oh, sorry, Mike. Oh, shoot. Now what do I do? Well, being a good old Wisconsin roll up your sleeve work ethic guy, I just blew through it. And then I went in the comments, and I typed in what the punchline was for the whole. So I failed. But you know what? I can do Facebook Live now. Now I tried Reels. Is it Reels or Reel? Facebook? Yeah. I tried that a couple months ago. Okay, well I'm not doing that right now. But I got out of my comfort zone. The other way I got out of my comfort zone, I told you I was at the Portage County Business Council, Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development. And about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I was looking at my schedule for speaking, training, coaching, teaching. And I'm like, holy shit. Oh. Jeez. Don't keep track. He'll beat me by miles. I said, holy shoot. I don't have enough. Right? Yeah, that's why I go, yeah. Swearing all the time. I love you, man. That was great. I love you. So I'm looking at my calendar, and it's like, I don't have enough vacation to do all this stuff I'm going to do. And I met with my board chair and vice president, the president and vice president. They said, yeah, we kind of noticed you're doing a lot in the leadership arena. So I had to make a decision. And my 4 daughters, which is why I have this colored hair, the youngest is 22. Her track is very well set. She's going to grad school, very proud of her. The other 3 daughters all have jobs in the area and all that. I said, you know what? I'm going to pull the trigger. 63 frickin' years old, and I'm going to start being an entrepreneur. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. My wife didn't exactly cheer and applaud like that, but that's a whole nother conference. We'll talk about. We should do it. No, never mind. So I made that step. So that was stretching out of my comfort zone as well. All of you have done many things. I've seen you in Cancun jumping into puddles and different things like that at the mastermind. So the 5th step of the roadmap, last step, is TLC. TLC has nothing to do with tender loving care, even though I am very tender and loving and caring. It has to do with team leadership culture. You must and you have to have a team. You can't do it without a team. I don't care who you are, what you are. I don't care if you have no friends, no family. You got a team right here in this room with the UnleashU Now group. You all have a team that you can be part of or that you are part of. That's what the team leadership culture is all about. Some people will try to sell you a canned program to build your team in your corporation, you know. Now here's how old you pull it off your shelf and take the disc out and plug it in. I know you don't do that anymore, I get it, right? But you buy this canned program, right, to build your team leadership culture. You send somebody off to a 3-day training, right, on leadership, and they're going to come back and you're going to have an incredible business, right? Those things are all good, but you need to sustain this journey. It's something that has to go on, and it has to be with a team. That's what we did at Newski's. That's what we did at Generac. That's what we did at the Business Council. That's what Michael's doing with his team and all of us here today, and those that couldn't make it as well. There's some pretty cool people that weren't able to be here today. It gets down to that communication, trust, and conflict. And a tool that I use is the DISC assessment. I think it's a great tool because it takes you 15 minutes to do this silly little assessment, and you get a 30-page report from it, and it tells you who you are. And 999.999 thousand times out of whatever the number is, it's right. A buddy of mine, Gordon Crow, said, he heard about me involved with DISC. He said, that DISC thing doesn't work. He said, I took the DISC assessment. I read the thing. That's like, that's not me. He gave it to his wife. Yeah, you already got it, right? His wife said, oh, Gordon, this is just like you. This is amazing. Where did you take this, right? It really, and from that, though, you learn how you communicate with your team. But the important part is when your teammates take it, or other people you work with, or other people you're engaged with, they take it, and then you can see how to communicate with them. Dr. Rob is a hell of a guy, and we may have different styles, and it's important for me to understand how Dr. Rob works so that he and I can work better together, and that's the case with all of you. We don't have to change our style. We just have to make sure we can flex our style and we can show an appreciation for others, particularly in the workplace. It's your decisions, not your conditions, that determine your growth. It's your decisions, not your conditions, that determine your growth. I do, but I don't care about your conditions. I do care because you're a fellow human being, and I know some people have had or have some crappy conditions. I don't care because you can make some decisions to change that. You've made a decision to be here this weekend. If you're the last one out of the bar tonight, be the first one in the room tomorrow. Whenever I did basketball camps or I went to conferences, I'm not trying to, pat myself on the back, but that's what I always did. If I was the last one in the bar, I was always the first one in the room in the morning. I was talking to the hosts and the people who ran it, and right? That's a commitment, and that's going to help you, and that's going to help you go through these 5 steps. Make sure you make the right decisions. So get out your little can that's in your bag. Finally. Yeah, right. I'm sorry, it's going to be a huge disappointment. Because you already got a chocolate in your bag, for crying out loud. Michael, we should have communicated better, but that's all right. So if you're interested in talking some more about any of this stuff, my contact information is in there. You can have the candy bar, whatever the case might be. Reach out to me. It's not a canned program. Get it? I thought of this by myself, but I had a little help from Spencer and from Sean Coe as well. All right? I've got one more assignment for you. One other thing I want to tell you is the people that have influenced me in my life. I've had a chance, not to the degree that Dr. Rob has, but I've had John Maxwell and his team are the ones that really got me going down this road of leadership. So if you have an opportunity to engage with him as well, that's another great tool. I use a lot of Patrick Lencioni's stuff. He does some great things. Read his books, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, The Ideal Team Player, some great books. Simon Sinek, I used to think was a little snot-nosed, little crabby millennial. He is incredible. He has all kinds of little video clips, and it's like, well, yeah, duh. All right? And then there's one other guy. He kind of spells his last name funny. Faber. I'm sorry. Michael's been another guy that's been a great mentor, a role model. Really appreciate him and his entire team, all the people that are here. Margaret, Evan, Dr. Vinny, Brianna, Helen, Hannah. I don't know, I forgot some people. I'm really sorry, Brent, whoever else, right? Let's give those guys a hand. Give them all a hand. Last thing, because the red light in the back is blinking like, get your butt off the stage. All right, stand up. If you don't know what else to do, Mullins, follow me. All right, if you don't know what else to do this weekend or for the rest of your life, make a difference in those 8 billion people. Well, how can I make a difference? I'm just one person, right? But you can make a difference. If each of you take my pledge and do what I ask you to do, and ask that person to do it, the same thing, and we keep doubling it before the end of the month. I'm not lying. I'm bad at math, but do the math. We can hit 8 billion people. And you can be a movement maker. Raise your right hand. I state your name. Ha ha ha. Do solemnly swear to commit one intentional act of kindness. Not random. Today and every day. Thank you very much. Thank you for that standing ovation.